Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. This is Jeremiah's JMan Mineral. JMan Speaks coming to you live. That's right, 18 Fridays. Ask the Experts Anything Meaningful Fridays. You know, we're going to start you out with a little bit of fun. Here's an intro from me and my girl, Marki. There it is. Get it? That's it, folks. That's it. We're going to come over here. So thank you, Marki Lemons-Ryhal, your Facebook hosting, global virtual speaker having, presenting, global bestseller. I want to do, one day we should just, I'll do your intro, you do my intro. That'll be fun.
JMan.
Yo, so Marki, thank you. Seriously for, true friends, when you call them at the last minute, like, yo, you want to do this live thing tomorrow? They say yes. And that's Marki. She's like, 9 o'clock your time. That's like kind of early. Let's do it.
You know what? I didn't really realize it was 8 a.m. until after I put it in my calendar. And I said to myself, Marki, did you say 8 a.m.? You're going to be showered, sitting in your office with a smile on your face. And yep, that's exactly what I said. I said, so let's come on and try it out. What's crack-a-lacking this morning, J-Man?
Go ahead. Do your thing, girl. I want to hear this is Marki. This is your girl, Marki Lemons.
This is your girl, Marki Lemons-Ryhal, a keynote speaker and international best-selling author. Now, you know what? Let me tell you something. There's a fellow speaker, and we joke about this speaker all the time. I'm not going to mention their name. So when I sent her the information where I sent me an email back, she says, no, Marki. I think you might want to review that because actually it should be global. International is only 2 countries. And so I have now rehearsed my new intro where I state I am a global virtual keynote speaker and global best-selling author.
Okay, get it. You better pop that virtual collar, pow, right there. So we're on live here, and the best part about doing things when you ask people to ask you anything is that you hope that they come on and they ask you things. But in the meantime, we could talk about stuff. So let's say this: international best-selling author. Let's start there because there's so many people that we meet up with, and they're like, "Yo, I want to write a book." And then again, and then again, and then again. Then year after year, they say that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Last year, I decided to get out my own way. It was actually one of my affirmations, right? Because oftentimes we're our own biggest obstacle. So I'm with a company that they actually offer revenue share. And when I decided to hire a publisher, because I didn't know anything about the publishing business, I said, okay, I'm going to hire someone. They told me their fee. I had no idea what these fees would be. And at first I said, I can't afford that. Then I thought about it. I have revenue more as a speaker, right? So I wrote the Modern Real Estate Professional's Guide to Success. It became an international bestseller. Well, within months of doing that, I was able to increase my fees. And let me say this, I probably could have increased my fees before, but I felt confident in increasing my fees. So presentation. Well, guess what, J-Man? Since then, I have now become my own publisher, and I publish a lot of what they consider to be low content. So I have the Social Selling Journal. We're getting ready to do a 66-day, it's a 66-day journal, but we're doing a 7-day challenge. I have the Modern Real Estate Professional's Guide to Planning, right? But since that time, and authored 17 published. So now I'm working on my children's, their books, their journals, their niches. My niche is very much real estate, very much women. But I also now have a journal collection that will help fund the Marki Lemons-Ryhal Scholarship from the passive proceeds. I know you weren't expecting all of that today.
No, girl, I already know. Look, there's one thing that I know about you and me. It's like, you stay ready. Just like me, you could walk into a room. I could have had no sleep for 6 days and be like, Jay, you want to do a live video? Let's go. Where are we going? What is it? Let's do it. Let's do it. Right? Like that one time in Vegas, it was for the CRS, for the celebration. You're like, JMan, let's do a live video. I'm like, all right, what do you want to do it on? I don't care. Let's just
Yep.
go. Let's just hit the button.
And it was a good video. March 13th hit, and I was going to be quarantined, had no idea how long it was going to last, that I would start with that long to-do list of things, that I would enroll at the almighty best university in the world, YouTube University,
Holler.
for absolutely no cost. Doing
Brina
today.
Lowry, my girl from Atlanta, Georgia. So she says, when you started teaching, training realtors, how did you position yourself to go to do the national conferences? That's a great question. Great
This
question.
is going to be a trip out. Let me tell you the story. I was already in education. I had taught for Chicago Public Schools, and I had taught on a collegiate level ever since I graduated from grad school at the age of 25. With that being said, what ended up happening is I went to take the PMN course, the Performance Management Network from the Women's Council of Realtors, and I took the course Harnessing the Power. It was June the 14th, 2006. Now, the reason I remember all this, my mother had passed away the week before that. And no, it was June, right? A week. And Terry Watson, in that class, I was 100% mentally disconnected from the world, like, because my life had changed so much over the last couple of months. And in 2009, which was 3 years later, when I got the email, all I could do was cry. But what I decided to do, I've always been pretty strategic, and I followed the path, the path of success. So I was following the careers of others, and I started teaching the different designations and certifications. I did the application, and the first time I did the application, I did get accepted. And then I had a couple of year break where I didn't get my presentation didn't get picked up because I was specializing in foreclosures and short sales, and there was a lot of competition.
Right.
I've been consistently back since 2012, doing something every single year at the conference. But I went to Toastmasters to make sure that my timing was perfected, eliminate your ums and your ahs,
Totally.
things of that nature.
So I like that because I did Toastmasters too, and for me, I've been in the speaking, let's call it speaking, instructing. I was a sales trainer before I got into real estate in 2005, but then I didn't really start instructing till probably 2008, and then I think we met probably 2013 or so at Rapid, and I think so often I was like, I was in my own way big time. Like, I was like, oh, what I got to go to that? I'm not getting paid for that? No, I'm not going to go to that. Forget that. I'm trying to make money here. And as soon as I changed my mindset and thought, okay, let me invest in myself, because I'm always trying to get better. And I think so many people, they try to go, what's the cause and effect? What's my ROI on this time that I'm spending there? And it's the relationships you build. It's the skills you learn. That the Toastmaster, same thing. I was like, I don't need a public speak all day, but really going in there, right? Going in there, refining the craft, the pauses, the ums, the ahs, because it's not always ums and ahs. Sometimes there's filler words that people don't even realize they're using. Okay, are you with me? You understand? And I've seen it with a lot of national speakers even where one guy was in his class for 7 hours and he said, does that make sense? 110 times. So
and you start counting on that 10th time because and how many times you gonna say this?
I was like, oh, now you got me engaged. I'm in. Let me see here. Tick, 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 tick. But
what's funny about the filler words is that they change,
right?
And we pick up a new word, and then we listen to ourselves, and I'll say to myself, "Don't you say that word one more time." One more time. You just said something, and I think we can elaborate because this is alive, and I've never publicly talked about it. The value of doing a free event. And so I'm not going to pay anyone to come and speak to their audience because I'm clear about who my audience is. But I will do an event for free if it consistently puts me in front of my audience. So the National Association of Realtors Conference does not pay us to come and speak.
Right.
And when we go, it costs money for us to go. I will say this. In the last couple of years, one of the reasons for me being excited to go is understanding its value. I am going to make 6 figures every year as the result of going to that one conference because it's going to
Right.
put me in front of every CEO, every ed director, every chair and co-chair of a programming committee in this country. And I'm going to network my butt off
Right.
so that when the next, and you don't always get hired that next year, you know what I'm saying? Like at 2019, that doesn't mean I was going to get hired in 2020, but it does mean that I'm likely every person I touch, have a conversation with, that they'll bring you in within the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because it's so many of us that are overnight sensations that took 10 years in the making, right? It
Yeah, us.
right? Oh man, he just blew up out of nowhere. I'm like, man,
Well,
I drove all over New York State when I first started for $120 RPR sessions. I mean, I'm talking like 3-4 hour drives just because I was like, this is my opportunity to shine. It doesn't matter what I'm making here. I need to go prove myself, demonstrate that I have the ability, and then they're going to ask. Just like with NAR, having those conversations. Let's talk. I like that. Talk a little bit about the networking side of it, because there are some speakers who are kind of introverted and they do their thing. They're great on stage. They deliver, and then they go to their room and they lock themselves in it for the rest of the night. And I think sometimes they are missing the ball there because the relationships are really built outside of your session, having those real conversations.
so what's funny is I was pitching myself to your speakers bureau, right? So
Mm-hmm.
she and I, we're sitting in the hallway at one of the hotels at actually NAR legislative meetings, not even I mean, I'm talking to everybody. She and I can't even have a conversation.
Right.
And it kind of hit me because I had to then really think about, what was it that I wanted in a new relationship, right? And I know I'm a realtor, right? I understand the language. I understand the roles that one plays, and I've had leadership roles, so I'm understanding that hierarchy. I'm understanding that every single year that I need to have. I want when they hire Marki Lemons-Ryhal, I want them to like kill 10 birds, right, with one stone, like boop, boop, boop. Oh, it accomplished
Right.
that. It's like a checklist, right?
Right.
A lot of people don't understand that, especially when they're coming from outside of the industry. They don't
Mm-hmm.
understand that. And there was a time, because I'm tired, right, that I'll go back to the room. And I realize that when I go to dinner with an association, when I get there, when I walk in the next morning, I feel like I am a member of that organization
100%.
because of
Yeah.
the dinner conversation.
Right. You're less like a stranger, and now you're part of the inner circle. And they're like, "Oh, girl, Marky." Yeah, totally.
And we have sidebar conversations, right? That if they have anything while I am there, I am with them. So if they want, once my plane lands in that city, till the time I take off. And Jay, man, you know this. I don't even know why Jay asking this question.
Well, I know it, but I want everybody
You
else to know
forget
it.
you
Yeah.
forgot about us in Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
So I had Jay, man. First of all, I didn't realize it was two different terminals. So my
Right.
car goes and picks J Man up. I, I drag J Man all over Minnesota. He looking at me like, he's like, so how many places we going? We went to offices. We went and filmed video. We
Yeah.
went to a late night networking session and everything. And we still had an event the very
The
next
very next
day.
day. Yeah.
And so I'm hitting multiple offices in every single city to either build rapport, and you're not always compensated, but to me, if I book that main event, my time is compensated
Right.
because I'm away from my family.
Right. Right. So make use of that extra time that you have, and see what I think any broker or company, their favorite words are, "While you're here." Those 3 words. While you're here, do you think you could pop by our office and do a quick session on, insert anything in the blank there?
You know what's kind of funny, as and you don't do this instantly, you do it, I think, over time, right? One thing is always looking for value add. So one thing that I had in my mind was that when real estate associations are having events, they have, strategic partners, vendors. But oftentimes when you and I come in, Jay, they don't know how to use the tools that we're using. So what I implemented, because a CEO asked me for it, she said, "Can you come in and train the vendors on what you're going to train people on in order to get more engagement, because then we're likely to
that's
have
great.
them more in the future, right, to be a vendor. And when she said it, she was like, and I know it's not a part of your contract, but in my mind, I'm like, so I train the vendors who sponsor all these events. And if we increase the engagement by any percentage, they'll remember that I taught them. Oh, yeah. Not only do I want to do it for you, it's now a part of my contract to do it for every organization, to provide that 15 minutes. And what's funny, Jay, you and I can do that.
Right.
Everybody else can't do that. They can't teach you how to use Instagram or TikTok to get more engagement while people are standing at the table, how to take a selfie, right, and post it and tag that person so then they'll reshare it. So we're actually increasing the online engagement for every organization that we work for.
Absolutely. That's so smart.
Yeah, so I'm now, or even I told you before we went live, I was screaming and kicking the other day. Somebody told me they wanted a virtual background. I'm like, you want me to put a green screen? I can stage my whole office in here. What you talking about? I'm not putting no green screen. And then it hit me, right? Sometimes your voice talks to you, and it said, big dummy, get the green screen. Actually, I bought a retractable ceiling mount green screen.
Yeah, those are nice.
And because we're doing all these graphics, right? Create a virtual background to match the PowerPoint slide of every organization that you work for. I've tried it out twice this week. Went over, because now the way that real estate professionals should use it, all your different, let's say that you're doing a Zoom and you have 10 photos from your listing. You could change out when you start talking about each of the rooms. You could actually change out your virtual background and have a whole slide deck behind you, right? And I'm like, oh, Marki, why was you so just dead set on this background? You need to switch this background out all the time, because it is a added benefit to the organization and it adds additional visuals for the consumer.
Yeah, I love it. I change mine up all the time. Like, I've changed it up since we've been on right now. I'm like, wait, it's kind of, I'm going to add me to like a virtual office, or like if we're, we got this big event coming up called Social Ninja Media Summit. I was in another thing talking about social media, but just right here in the corner, I had a little logo, which is like soft branding, right? Like, what is that? What? Wait, what? Yeah, totally. I agree.
Yeah. And you can create those for free over on Zoom, because it's nothing but a photo, a PNG file. So
right. Yeah, and I've been playing with the video ones. Like when I go for bike rides in the morning, I'm like, sometimes my bike ride takes me another 30 minutes than it should, because I'm like, man, let me get this video right here. And it'll be like a video of the backdrop of the city with the water, the river coming across, so that I get the movement of the river with the city still. It just, I got a bunch of those, and I just change them out, because then I'm also branding myself with my city, right? And they're like, oh, JMan, he's from the Rock, Rochester, New York. Not New York, but the Rock. Yeah, love it. I love it.
So we have to keep it fresh. We're not resting on the past, right? This is a business that you must learn something. I barely do PowerPoint. I am in comparison, I am a PowerPoint guru, but that Prezi took it to a whole nother level.
Right. Well, and it's again, like advancing our skills. Like some may have said, oh, they're good with video. They don't have to do anything during the pandemic, but we both have been like, level up, level up, level up. Well, how can we get better at what we're doing? But then even Prezi, it's funny that you mentioned it. They have this one update called Prezi Video, that I was on a Zoom the other day, and Prezi Video comes in as a virtual camera. And so my PowerPoint, my slides are overlaid on my camera feed. I don't have to share my screen at all. So it's like, whew, I'm like this. All right, and the next slide, whew. They're like, what?
So you have two cameras and you can layer it, right?
Well, yeah. Prezi Video actually takes your presentation and overlays it onto the video feed. It's super cool. I have to show you. But even like this program that I'm using right now, Ecamm, I can use this, because you know how you're seeing it as a virtual cam within Skype. For those of you who don't know, that's how Marki's coming in with her camera feed. I can use that for Zoom. So I could have this right now in my Zoom as my video feed us two talking could be the feed coming in. So it's like talking about, because when you watch even like these big conferences, Zoom is so clunky. You know what I'm saying? Like, hold on, folks, while I share my screen. Oh, and then their slide deck's not ready, and it's just like, you knew you had to share it. Why isn't this ready? Like, all these little details bother me. Like, I want you to be, you're doing something for a big audience. The audience deserves the best, and you got to really put in the time and the effort to make it the best that it can be. I spent another hour. We talked before we started. I spent probably more than an hour just making this. You guys see this border thing
with our names, our titles. And you know what? I just realized my title's at the bottom. I'm over here looking. I'm just realizing
girl.
my title.
See that?
What does that say? Step back. The Savage Life.
Oh.
Is that what that's? Oh, look.
Yeah.
So look, it must be a thing, right? Ask me how to invest in real estate. So guess what? I started a Shopify store and actually closed the Shopify store. But I am now also doing print on demand t-shirts. Hold on. Because I had to show you my hottest and latest collection. Actually, the proceeds of sales from this are going back to the laundry is the only thing that should be separated by color. And so I'm doing the t-shirts too. I have buttons. We talked about the journals and the books, and all of that has been done since quarantine. It's no way I would have been able to, when I leave the door to go to a speaking engagement, I'm 100% about that speaking engagement. And
you see somebody like at the airport and they're like, Marki. And I'm like, I just hit the off button. Whoa, what's up? How you doing? Yeah. So I noticed that, I think it was in your feed yesterday, you had posted like laundry is the only, is it a book now you have as well, right? Is it, or like a workbook? Do you have it with you? You could just.
Oh yeah, it's a notebook.
It's just a notebook.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah. See, I set it up for her. So again, thank you, Sabrina, for tuning in. And anybody else who's tuning in, watching this on the playback, you can just post in the comments. We'll be replying to everything. But ask the experts anything meaningful. And I want to give a shout out to Sabrina Lowry again, because originally, to talk about how our brains are dead at the end of the day, I was doing this. I'm like, I need A-Team. I just like the A-Team. I want that acronym. And I'm like, ask the experts anything Monday is what I initially came up with, because it'd be funny. Ask the experts anything Monday on Friday at 9:00 Eastern Standard Time. And so my first broadcast was with Sabrina, and she's like, meaningful, JMan, meaningful. And I'm like, see, all right, girl, thank you very much.
Meaningful. There you go.
Yeah.
So you asked me about the journal. So I have the t-shirt, but then what I came up with were just line journals. This is considered low content, but I came up with a whole series, right? So this one says, one black friend isn't enough. You should have a whole congregation of black friends. Born equal, one race, the human race, every human matters. We stand against racial inequality. And then because people they draw such in a bunch every time somebody says Black Lives Matter. I decided I wasn't going to put Black Lives Matter on anything. But I did come up with Black businesses matter, Black thoughts, Black figures, Black dreams, Black people, Black views, Black vote. All it matters, right? And so the proceeds from this sale are actually going back to what is known as the 77 communities of the city of Chicago, which is my local association's diversity committee. And so in each book, we have this printed, and I am approaching them to have my own scholarship. And so to also help fund the Marki Lemons-Ryhal scholarship. We should know more in a couple of weeks.
I love it. So let's talk a little bit about that, giving back, doing, when things are happening, being the light in the darkness, if you will, like doing things to really make a difference. There's a lot of challenges that we're facing, but you focus on solutions. How can we get things better? How can we make things better? It's going to be a long process. I could tell you, I started a new show, not for real estate people, for all people. It's called Real Talk from the Rock. And what we do is we're on our second one will air tomorrow at 10 a.m. We already recorded it. But it's interviewing minorities, people of color, and they share their stories, how they encountered racism and how they, went above and beyond and overcame obstacles and are successes in their own way. Doesn't mean like they're super successful or they make a lot of money. Sometimes it's just they made it out the hood, right? And they're doing things in the community to give back and make a difference. So we've been doing that to because there's so many great positive role models that people need to follow, right? Rather than it's like, man, I had friends growing up that got into the gangs and things like that, and it was like that was their family because they didn't have a family, or they didn't have a mentor, they didn't have somebody positive to follow. And I feel like more people need to meet you, know you, because it's more of like what we do, right? We do this to make a difference in people's lives. It's not for the money, because if you guys knew what we got paid sometimes, that speaker life ain't so glamorous when you're sleeping on the floor in the airport or something,
And we've all had a night at the airport, So let me tell you what happened. So Chicago is the most segregated city in this country, racially and economically, according to every study and report. We have food deserts in predominantly Black and Hispanic communities. Well, I was born and raised on the south side of Chicago, born and raised in actually one of the roughest neighborhoods that you hear about in the news all the time, Inglewood. The distinction is that my family actually owned Chicago's second oldest Black restaurant and Chicago's oldest barbecue restaurant have access to. And that would also be a great education in parochial and private school. With that being said, when George Floyd was murdered, we saw total devastation, looting, and rioting to the Chicago South Side. When I've been quarantined since Friday, March the 13th, but when I saw the house, and instantly I felt the need that I wanted the country to know about what was going on the Chicago South Side, because we need their help. And I did a Facebook Live video. That video has been seen probably 37,000 times now, but the video has raised $50,000 for the 77 communities of the city of Chicago. So what had happened was before I did the video, because I realized I was getting ready to have, I had been emotional for 48 hours. So I already knew that I could not contain my emotions. Right. I called my CEO and I said, hey, can I use our education foundation in order to raise money? Because I don't want to manage money, but I do believe that we need money to help our Realtor Association. And so it started from there. My goal was to raise $5,000. I didn't know it was going to raise $50,000 for the our equal, what is it called? Committee, diversity committee.
Fair housing and diversity.
Yeah, fair housing and diversity. So we got a lot of money for a local fair housing and diversity committee. So then I said, well, how do we keep this going? Because we've done a very good job at board up and cleanup, but we need to come back and deal with business planning, business growth, marketing, rebranding, all of that. And so not only did the video raise the money, now it's how can I give my time back to the city to provide education and training on what I normally charge people for, but provide it as a service. And then how do I continue to raise funds for the 77 communities? Hence the notebooks, hence the t-shirt. So all of this, when I'm talking about all of this stuff has morphed, right? And the worst time I've ever seen in my life, between coronavirus, between George Floyd, between the total unrest of our country, all of these things have happened. And so I'm thankful for the fact that I can tune out the negativity to focus on the creativity and what I think could be solutions, and how do I play a role and consistently give. And oftentimes, we do these one-hit fundraisers. I wanted to create something that is passive income to continue to give to my Realtor Association until.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hold on. I'm gonna give you a round of applause. Well, you deserve it, and I think what we'll do, we'll also post it in the comments in the description, the 77 community. Like if you have a link or something that we could, if people were interested, and all the books and all that, to be sure, because there's a couple different lessons there. Number one, like you didn't have to do anything,
I didn't,
but you were compelled to, right? Like you had to. You saw what was happening. Skills, because it's like we all have certain skill sets that we bring to the table And one of yours is video and live video, and using that not for your business, not for speaking, not for real estate, but to help out your community. I've done it so many times as well. Like, bring those skills to the table, because a lot of these not-for-profits, they're barely getting on a Zoom call. You know what I'm saying? Like, I held a Zoom meeting last night for Puerto Ricans United in the Distance organization that I'm involved with, and it was like, can you please mute yourself? Can you, like going like basic kind of stuff. So it's like, bring what you have to the table and really do something to make a difference, because realtors do care. And I love that you share the story, because so many people across the United States do so many good things that are realtors, and nothing gets said about it. Nobody posts about it, and I think it needs to be shared, because we're much more than people looking to collect a commission and make a sale, because that's ridiculous. All right, we're architects of the American dream.
When we think about that, one thing that I was strategic in doing, I have had the opportunity to be a guest editor for Realtor Magazine, and I've been featured in every local real estate publication, and I've become friends with those editors and those owners of those publications. So the reason I got out of my bed was because of the Clean Out Crew 2020, which was a group of realtors on the south side of Chicago. Every last one, Realtor Magazine, Chicago Agent Magazine, Chicago Real Producers Magazine, I picked up, and I don't like talking on the phone. I picked up the phone and I called either the owner of the publication or the editor. And I said, hey, I need you to know about Whitney Hampton and Latalo McGee and the work that they're doing on the South Side. And I think that their efforts and all that they have done deserve some publicity. And do you know, every last one of those organizations wrote an article. I didn't make the assumption that they knew. And what I tell people all the time, because I live in a segregated city where it is like a straight up line in the sand, right. I know that my white counterparts do not know what I endure or experience every single day. So it's my fiduciary responsibility to right. call to let them know. And if they don't take action, then that tells me who they are. Okay. Right. But right. they cannot tell me they did not know.
Right. Amen. So if you're a realtor watching this, I know don't be short-sighted in thinking like, oh, me shouting out somebody who's my competition is going to affect my business. If you have that mindset, you should get out of the business, number one. But it's through collaboration and bringing up others. The rising tide raises all boats. I mean, some may think that Marki and I, we're both speakers. We talk about similar stuff. Why would they work together? Because we're always willing to help each other out. I mean, that's how it should be. And that's how everybody should be.
Ain't that the truth? And here's the beautiful thing. We understand the numbers of our industry, right? So we have a captive audience of 1.4 million people, and I think all of them need continuing education. We're not going to get hired by that same organization year after year. And so if they don't hire me next year, then I want them to hire someone who I've collaborated with, right? A JMan or Katie Lance. And here's the beautiful thing. When you are a true professional, we do refer deals to one another. We'll tell 100%. People we know we're not getting that job year after year after year. So we'll be like, oh, have you saw so-and-so? Because we want someone in our inner circle to be the next person that they bring in. So it's not, I don't think of it as competition. It's more than enough out here. And I can't work for everybody anyway, because I just don't have the capacity. None of us can. We don't have the capacity.
Right. I mean, Biggie had it right, giving ends to my friends, and it feels stupendous.
Ow!
But it's so true. Like when we did the Minneapolis thing, they were like, "Oh, we're gonna bring in Marki. What do you think about Marki?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, couldn't be a better person to bring in." Absolutely, we work well together. We've done live, and I think they actually used one of the live videos that we had already done as like a promo. Like, we didn't even have to do the promo. They just sent a video that we had already done. Like, these two crazy people will be here. Get to the conference.
Here's what's funny, Jay. Let's go back over that. We had actually did the promo video as an impromptu video at CRS, right?
Oh, that's what it was.
And then we sent it in, right, overlap, and you did the whole video creation, and I did the video repurposing, and we solved their whole problem.
Oh, 100%. That was great. Great audience. I think we had like 400 or 500 people there.
Yeah.
They were supposed to send us the video, but they lost it. Or they got deleted by accident.
That dang on delete button.
They were like, "Oh, Jay, we got good news and bad news. Good news, you had great reviews. Bad news, the video got deleted." And it was like, I would care more. No, I don't care more about the video, but yeah. All right. Anything else you want to talk about?
So no, well, let me say this. I can now, that was the wrong question, Jay, because we could talk and talk and talk for weeks at a time, right? What I want to encourage people to do, because let me tell you this, emotions are running high right now. Take a deep breath and step away from your device.
No, it said the stream had stopped for a second, but I think it resumed now.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, but what's good is, that's the site, right? MarkiLemons.com. That's yours. I got it right?
Mm-hmm. You got it right.
Yeah, okay. So listen, you guys need to follow her, link up, subscribe, do everything you need to do to connect with Marki. And we're going to put in the comments as well in the description of this video all the ways that you can help out. But also, I would say use this as an example of what you can do for your city as well. Don't just stand by while everything is going on. Like, do something, make a difference in the world. Because evil wins when good people do nothing. Right? So
I like that. You right about that.
I don't know if I said it. I think it was Martin Luther King who did, but he had a dream. We're still working on it.
Yes, we are.
Well, thank you again, folks, and thanks for tuning in. This is Jeremiah's JMan Monero with JMan Speaks with
Marki Lemons-Ryhal, your girl, real estate keynote speaker and international best-selling author.
Have a great day, folks.